The scream that pierced the quiet dawn on Elmwood Lane wasn't just any cry, it was the sound of a life unraveling. A soul cracking under the weight of secrets long buried. I should know, I orchestrated every moment leading up to it. My name is Emily Harper. And this is the story of how I dismantled the two people who meant the world to me. Piece by agonizing piece. But to grasp the full horror of that Tuesday morning at precisely 8:47 a.m., when my meticulously crafted vengeance finally ignited. Let me set the scene. Sarah Jennings stood in her spotless modern kitchen, still in her soft cotton robe, clutching a plain brown package that had arrived unannounced at her doorstep. No return address. Just as I'd intended. Her elegant fingers, always so steady from years of handling delicate art supplies, shook slightly as she peeled back the wrapping, perhaps imagining it was a thoughtful gift from a gallery client or a surprise from her latest admirer. What spilled out made her recoil as if scorched, the box tumbling from her grasp. The wail that erupted wasn't mere shock, it was primal dread, building from a guttural moan to a piercing shriek that chilled the blood of anyone within earshot. It echoed like a siren through the suburban calm, causing old Mr. Wilkins next door to spill his newspaper and hot coffee onto his lap. Help! Oh God. Someone please help. Sarah's voice fractured as she staggered back, crashing into her island counter. The package's contents fanned out across her gleaming tile floor, and she couldn't tear her eyes away, her body heaving with uncontrollable sobs. From my vantage point in the sedan parked discreetly across the street, hidden behind tinted windows and a pair of oversized sunglasses, I observed the pandemonium unfold like a scene from a twisted play I'd scripted myself. Mrs. Lopez from 2 doors down burst out in her slippers, phone already in hand. The jogger passing by halted mid-stride, earbuds yanked out. Even reclusive Mr. Patel, who rarely emerged before his afternoon walk, shuffled onto his porch in pajamas, squinting at the commotion. What's happened? Is everything okay? Voices overlapped in growing alarm as neighbors converged on Sarah's manicured lawn. But she was beyond words, just pointing shakily toward her open front door, her face a mask of pure terror. Mrs. Lopez peered inside first, her expression shifting from concern to ashen horror. She retreated quickly, dialing frantically. We need the cops here now, she muttered to the gathering crowd, her words carrying on the crisp morning breeze. And paramedics, something's really wrong. The shrieking dragged on for what seemed an eternity, though my watch ticked off only 3 agonizing minutes. 3 minutes of raw chaos that had the whole block frozen in disbelief. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing nearer as someone had already summoned help. Sarah finally crumpled onto her front steps, racked with sobs that stole her breath. Her usually impeccable auburn hair disheveled, her robe smeared with tears and dirt. She bore no resemblance to the poised, vibrant woman who'd been entwining herself with my husband for the past 8 months. She's losing it completely, I overheard Mr. Wilkins murmur into his cell. Whatever was in that box, it broke her. If only they knew the truth, that the hysterical figure on those steps wasn't some fragile neighbor in crisis. If only they'd realized Sarah Jennings was the same girl who'd shared secrets with me during late-night study sessions in our college apartment, who'd consoled me through my mother's cancer battle, who'd vowed at my wedding to always have my back. The same woman who'd been sneaking off to trendy bistros with my husband while I pulled overtime shifts to fund what I believed were his medical conferences. The same betrayer who'd been flaunting the earrings I'd helped her choose, lounging in the condo I'd scouted for her, all while methodically eroding my marriage from within. As the ambulance screeched to a halt and medics swarmed toward Sarah, I turned the key in the ignition, my pulse steady despite the adrenaline. Phase 1 was complete for now. But this was merely the opening act in a symphony of retribution. What those well-meaning neighbors couldn't fathom, what the responders couldn't diagnose, and what Sarah was too shattered to articulate, was that the box's horrors weren't arbitrary. They were precision-engineered to exploit her most intimate vulnerabilities, secrets only a lifelong confidant like me would possess. But I'm jumping ahead. To truly comprehend why Sarah Jennings unleashed a scream that rattled an entire community, you must journey back with me. Back to the unraveling of what I'd naively deemed a flawless life. 3 months prior. Before that fateful cry altered everything forever. 3 months before Elmwood Lane echoed with despair. I was clinging to the illusion of domestic bliss, or so everyone around me believed. It was a chilly October morning when the message that would upend my world pinged on my phone. I was hunched over my drafting table at Harper Designs, tweaking layouts for a major ad campaign, when the notification lit up my screen, sparking a rare genuine smile amid my recent fog of unease. Hey, guess who's heading back your way? Dying to reconnect with my fave power couple. XO. S. Sarah. My college roommate. My bridesmaid. My rock who'd relocated to Seattle 8 years ago to chase her dream job in graphic arts. We hadn't shared a room since David's hospital promotion bash 2 years earlier. But our texts flew back and forth. And FaceTime calls bridged the miles every couple of weeks. I dialed David at the clinic right away. You'll never believe this, I bubbled, swiveling in my chair. Who's that? His tone was clipped. Likely amid patient charts. Sarah's moving back. We have to throw her a welcome bash, maybe at that cozy French spot she adored. A heavy silence stretched. The first subtle crack I should have heeded. That's wonderful. Really? But I'm swamped here, can we chat later tonight? I dismissed his tepid reaction. David had always been the stoic type, more focused on precision than parties. It was just him being him. That night, I ambushed him with enthusiasm the second he stepped through our door. Our home on Elmwood Lane was the dream we'd built since tying the knot 12 years ago, charming colonial with a sun-drenched backyard. The kind of place that screamed stability. I'd spent the afternoon scouring listings for Sarah, mapping out brunches and spa days. She's eyeing lofts in the Arts District, I gushed as he shrugged off his white coat. I spotted 3 gems in her budget. And I'm thinking a low-key gathering with our circle, nothing over the top. David nodded absently, his eyes flicking to his phone mid-conversation, blaming urgent emails. When I floated inviting her for weekend mimosas, he begged off with work. You've been pulling a lot of extra shifts lately, I noted lightly, masking the twinge in my chest. Big rotation coming up, you get it. I did get it. David thrived on ambition, climbing from resident to lead surgeon, funding our cozy life and future plans. I'd grown accustomed to the on-call beeps, weekend rounds, the networking dinners that multiplied. But something felt off-key now. David grew distant, his responses mechanical as he scrolled endlessly, brushing off my bids for connection. Suggestions for an anniversary getaway? Too jammed to plan. I chalked it up to burnout, the hospital expansion, high-stakes cases. Of course, he was preoccupied. 2 weeks on, Sarah settled into a sleek loft in the vibrant downtown scene. I helped unpack, giggling over dusty relics from our undergrad days. Check us out, she beamed, waving a faded snapshot from our engagement soiree. David with his arms slung around me, Sarah beaming beside us, all youthful joy. Back then, his gaze on her was purely platonic. Nothing more. Hard to believe it's been 12 years since you two said I do, Sarah mused. You still glow like newlyweds. We do, I echoed on autopilot, even as doubt flickered. That evening, I broached my worries with David as we prepped for bed. Our ritual now more rote than romantic. Are we solid? I ventured, perching on the mattress edge. What do you mean? Us, our marriage. You've seemed so. Elsewhere. He paused mid-toothbrush. Just clinic stress. You know the drill. I do. But not tonight. Okay. Early rounds tomorrow. He rolled away, snuffing the dialogue. In the dark, I stared at the ceiling. His even breaths a stark contrast to my churning thoughts. If only I'd tuned into the microshifts, his face tightening at Sarah's name. The spike in late shifts post her return. His uncanny knowledge of her neighborhood haunts. But I was still ensnared in the myth of our unbreakable bond. Convinced 12 years of devotion meant invincibility. Little did I know my husband and closest ally were conspiring to shatter that illusion. The evening my reality fractured began innocuously. A typical November Tuesday. I was prepping David's go-to meal, seared steak with roasted veggies, while he texted about another extended shift. Our pattern, me dining solo, plating his portion for the fridge. I'd tried pinging him for an hour about weekend plans with Sarah, but voicemail swallowed every call. By 8 p.m., I opted for a surprise drop-in at the hospital with takeout. Maybe we'd share a moment amid the chaos. Reconnect like old times. The medical center loomed dimly lit, save for scattered glows. David's wing was on the 5th floor. The night guard waved me through. Familiar with my occasional visits. But his office was pitch black. Desk bare. Stethoscope absent. Pardon, I flagged a janitor mopping nearby. Has Dr. David Harper left? She furrowed her brow. Doc Harper? Clocked out around 5:30. Like usual. No overtime in ages. My gut plummeted. 5:30, he'd sworn he'd be buried till 9 at least. Clutching the cooling container, I stood dazed in the sterile hall, piecing together the deception. If not here, where? What hid behind all those emergencies? Trembling, I launched the Find My app we'd linked for peace of mind years back, when trust flowed freely. David's dock cruised downtown, far from the hospital. I tailed it compulsively, weaving through familiar avenues. Mind reeling with excuses, a consult, an errand, anything benign. The signal halted at Le Petit Bistro, the intimate French haunt we'd visited once for our 5th anniversary, too lavish for routine, too romantic for colleagues. I parked opposite, staring at the inviting amber lights. Part of me screamed to flee, preserve the denial. But I was rooted. Then he emerged, not alone. David's arm encircled a woman with flowing auburn locks, clad in a sleek black dress unfamiliar to me. Their laughter rang intimate, oblivious. At his car, he cradled her face, kissing her deeply, the kind that screamed passion. Not platitude. But when she pivoted into the street lamp's glow, my world halted. Sarah, my confidant, my supporter through thick and thin, the friend I'd aided in her relocation, plotting girls' outings with. Horror surged as David ushered her in, his hand grazing her back possessively. They sped off, likely to her loft, the one I'd endorsed. I sat numb for 20 minutes, processing the double-edged blade. Not a fling with a stranger. This was profound treachery. My spouse and soul sister, mocking my solitude while I fretted over our fading spark. How deep did it run? Pre-move flirtations via texts? Giggles at my gullibility? My phone buzzed. David's lie stuck late again. Don't wait up. Love ya. Then Sarah's hoping you and David are chilling. Lunch tomorrow? Miss you. Miss me? While entangled in his embrace, doused in the scent I'd gifted her last birthday, I drove home in a trance. Memories reframing, David's feigned interest in her return, escalating absences, Sarah's probing questions about our marital woes, armed with insider intel because she was the insider. Home. I ditched the meal. guzzling wine till numbness crept in. When David slinked in at 11:30, reeking of her floral notes and spinning yarns about urgent cases, I lounged in the den. Mask of normalcy intact. Tough shift, I cooed. Draining, he fibbed, pecking my forehead. But everything had shifted. As he ascended to rinse away the proof, the trusting Emily dissolved, replaced by a strategist poised to exact tolls. Dawn brought razor-sharp resolve, while David hummed in the shower. Carefree, I brewed coffee and plated breakfast, embodying the dutiful spouse one final time. Internally, gears turned, cataloging falsehoods, dissecting clues. Might run late again, he announced, nodding his tie. Complex procedures. Totally get it. Babe. I brushed his cheek, tasting deceit. Lunch with Sarah today. Should I pass on a hello? His grip tightened on his bag. Fleeting. Yeah. Sure. Tell her I'm glad she's settling in. Once his SUV vanished, I cleared my schedule and dove into forensics. David managed our finances, citing his analytical edge. I deferred, trusting blindly. Now, I dissected records ruthlessly. Le Petit Bistro charges not once, but 7 in 2 months, each for 2, eclipsing our weekly budget. A $800 boutique hit the day Sarah flaunted her client gift earrings. City hotel stays during alleged overnights. Worst, monthly $500 transfers to Urban Lofts Management, her building's firm. My husband bankrolled my best friend's pad, surrounded by printouts in our sunlit kitchen. Humiliation burned. How had I been so oblivious? Sarah's text buzzed, pumped for lunch. Got tea on this guy I'm seeing, he's incredible. But messy. My guy, her audacity to dangle it. We met at our staple downtown cafe, blocks from her place. She radiated, in a chic top likely from his wallet. You look amazing, I complimented. Bow rising. Betrayal flattered her. Thanks, self-care mode since meeting him. She leaned in. Wasn't sure to spill. But I think it's love. The gall to solicit details on her theft of my life. Dish, I prompted, feigning thrill. He's seasoned, ambitious, treats me like royalty. She fiddled with those earrings. Downside, married. Oh, Sarah. I clasped her hand, the one likely caressing him hours prior. Tricky. I know it's bad. But this connection. He says their marriage fizzled ages ago, just cohabiting. He's gearing up to split. Split from me? The blow landed hard. But I held steady. Sure he's legit? Guys promise the moon. This feels real. He vents about her coldness. How she doesn't get him like I do. Even covers my rent wild. Right? Wild? I'd trace the wires. His name. I probed casually. Can't yet, career risks. Soon. When he's ready. For 2 hours. She narrated their escapades, casting me as the frigid obstacle, soliciting my counsel on affair guilt. Am I awful? She queried as we parted. Nah, I lied. Love's messy stuff happens. That dusk, I staked out her building. David arrived at 7:30 with roses and champagne, key in hand. Lights dimmed in her bedroom. Plan solidified. They fancied themselves sly. They'd soon meet the avenger they'd forged. Sleepless, I mapped retribution at the kitchen island. Coffee stale. Mind honed. By dawn, a blueprint emerged to mirror their inflicted pain. Aid arrived unexpectedly, Mrs. Patel, the vigilant widow next door for 15 years, ever observant of neighborhood rhythms. I found her teary on her stoop next morning. Mrs. Patel, you all right? She dabbed her eyes. My nephew's wife ditched him for his partner, 25 years. Poof. For greener pastures. Her bitterness resonated. I'm sorry. Cheaters think they're untouchable, no fallout. I sat beside. What if the hurt craft their own justice? She eyed me shrewdly. Sounds like someone's been burned deep. My husband's cheating with my best friend. The confession hung heavy. Mrs. Patel gripped my hand. What can I do? Dear. Over tea. I unloaded. Deceptions. Fiscal theft. Sarah's brazen lunch confessions. She absorbed it stoically. Your move. Ruin them deliberately. Make them ache like I do. Her grin emerged. You're tougher than I pegged. Emily Harper. Count me in. My scheme's elegance lay in subtlety, no outbursts. Just leveraging their psyches. Sarah dreaded isolation. Craving affirmation since a high school harassment ordeal left her vigilant. David prized his sterling image and dominance. Petrified of scandal or chaos. I'd weaponize both. Phase 1. Documentation. Snaps of his departures. Sent logs. Lie ledger. Simultaneously. I revived the doting wife. Gourmet dinners. Attentive chats. Tender touches. You seem lighter, David observed during a back rub. Pondering our anniversary, maybe vow renewal? Guilt shadowed his eyes. Sounds sweet. For Sarah. Subtle sabotage, anonymous hang-ups. Untraceable. Mrs. Patel. Voice altered masterfully. Rang her studio querying the Auburn artist cozying up to wetted docs. Weird call at work, Sarah confided over lattes. Frazzled. Hinting at married fling's prank. Maybe? Odd jealous rival? But how'd they know? We're discreet. Not discreet enough. I mused. Feigning empathy. The core, let them implode mutually. Sarah's clinginess would spike under paranoia. David's control freakery would repel her demands. I'd apply the levers. Watch the fracture. The climax, a package tailored to shatter Sarah's core. Weeks brainstorming yielded a grin-worthy epiphany. They toyed with a trusting heart, now faced one with zero mercy. The mind games intensified 3 weeks pre-package. I'd mastered duplicity. The affectionate spouse eroding their liaison covertly. Mrs. Patel relished it. Spy thriller beats bingo, she quipped during debriefs. David grew edgy under my innocent probes, office surprises. Colleague intros. You're nosy about my schedule, he snapped. Miss you. That's all. Guilt fueled his overcorrections bouquets. Cuddles, that repulsed me inwardly. Sarah frayed faster. Hang-ups amped, dawn. Midnight breaths, then silence. I'm being stalked, she whispered at coffee. Haggard. Calls. Same car lurking thrice yesterday. Mrs. Patel's kin. Repaying a debt. Police? What proof? They'd dismiss me. Her mug trembled. Maybe I'm unraveling. Stress, how's mystery man? Shadows crossed her. Distant. Thinks his wife's onto him. Ideal. My home pressure curtailed his trysts. Her desperation alienated him. Space him, I advised. What if he bails? I uprooted for him. Lived this lie. Abandonment terror gleamed. Next, her loft. Mrs. Patel's contact and maintenance tipped absences. No break-ins, just repairs in the vacant unit above. Nocturnal furniture drags. Footsteps seeping down. Someone's upstairs, Sarah phoned frantic. Sounds patterned. But management's clueless. Creaky building? No, deliberate. Paranoia festered. She bombarded David. He withdrew under dual sieges. Their idols soured into torment. Coup, Mrs. Patel's nephew bumped Sarah post groceries. Argue the one with Dr. David Harper. He vanished, leaving her reeling. That night, I eavesdropped via extension as she panicked to David. Someone knows. Approached me. Named you. Paranoid much? But doubt laced his tone. Control slipped. Time for endgame. Monday Eve. I confronted David. He entered expecting routine, found me with wine. Laptop displaying the dossier, transactions. Snaps. Timelines. Sit. We talk. Panic flared. What's I know about Sarah? His denial faltered at the evidence. How long? Long enough to retaliate. I sipped coolly. While you two played. I plotted. Tomorrow. Sarah gets a package that'll obliterate your fantasy. What? You'll see your affair detonate. I rose. Pack, hotel's your new home. Locks changed. Desperation. We can fix this. End it with her. Therapy. Too late. Chose her over us. Divorce envelope thrust. House mine. Half assets. Your rep in tatters. He blanched at threats. Firm exposure. Embezzlement claims. Photos. Then. The package reveal. She'll find your texts bashing her clinginess. Pics you shared mocking her. A recording calling her a fling. Fabrications. But paranoia sold them. Plus. Fake positive pregnancy test, her nightmare, with your vasectomy docs. Proving no kid's intent. He retched. She'll spot fakes. In her state? Doubt it. Mutual ruin assured, her meltdown. His cleanup. Precisely as unfolded. Tuesday's scream summoned aid. Sarah's psych hold followed a self-harm attempt post-package. Police probed stalking links. David confessed later, she's committed, tried ending it. Shock hit, I aimed pain. Not this. Connected to her reports? I don't know. Tinged fear. You demolished us. No, you did. I enforced karma. 6 months on, divorce final. David jobless amid scandal. Sarah fled to Seattle. No contact. I retained the home. Launched my design studio. Discovered vengeance's bitter satisfaction. Some deem it extreme. But when betrayal guts your core, extreme becomes justified. Elmwood's screams weren't mere collapse, they heralded reckoning. Delivered one devastating package at a time.